I think one of the challenges of being a small business owner is the need to switch between different modes in your business. So, if you are, if you're a solopreneur or you run a very small team, and then if you're still wearing quite a few hats, and then you typically need to change hats, sometimes multiple times per day, and it can be kind of challenging to switch between those modes, I think. So, for instance, one mode is, CEO founder mode, right? That's well, let's say CEO mode is, work on the business, not in the business, right? It's about, um, well, let's split it out a little differently, I guess. So, CEO mode, we're going to say, is, make big picture decisions, think about overall strategy, overall health of the company, culture, um, are there major initiatives and major problems? It's a very potentially a very zoomed out um, sort of perspective, and so that's the one mode, CEO mode. Next mode is manager, and manager mode is all about equipping your team, empowering your team, working with your team to get stuff done, right? So you've still got a list of projects that you kind of have in front of you, but it's all about making the right, having the right people in the right seat, doing the right thing, making so that work can get done. So it's all about the management side of it, and then there is the technician level, and this is the actual getting stuff done. So to kind of like to just give an example from my business about the different modes, right? So CEO mode, maybe I'm gonna say, uh, what is should we be doing more SEO for our clients? Should we be doing more content creation for them? Should we sharpen our expertise in that area? Do I need to bring someone in to help? Do I need to take a course, help someone to train to get a higher level of expertise inside the company? For me or anybody that's helping me to get better at SEO, what's that sort of thing, right? That would be kind of like CEO level stuff. How do we charge for that, and how does it fit into our current makeup, as in our current like suite of offerings? Let's say. Okay, that's CEO stuff. And then managerially, it might be okay, does my assistant have all the logins that she needs? Where are we at for the month for where we want to be? So if this is the first week, are we on target for what we want to do in terms of client reporting and ads management or client reporting? And are we staying on track with our overall schedule? Do I need to get some additional help? Do we have, are we too heavy on help? Which that could be maybe a bit of a CEO question, but managerially it might be like, well, how is the work being divvied up, and do we have the right number of people for the number of jobs that we have? Then you have technician, right? And technician might be, okay, I need to write a blog post, so let me sit down, do the research. Maybe it might involve keyword research, and it might involve doing some asking the owner of a company some specific questions on how they approach certain things. Maybe getting some photography around and editing that, writing, actually typing out the words, writing the article, uploading it or publishing it with let's say if their website is built on WordPress, putting it in WordPress, adding the internal external links, and scheduling the article to share on social media, and so on and so forth, and checking that off the list for the day. So, why I say it's a challenge, I think, is because it's just these are very distinct modes. Like, these are very different ways of operating, and they need to all be in place. Now, the one that's maybe a little bit not really. I mean, the managerial one, depending if you're like a solopreneur, the managerial one might not count as much. You can maybe kind of skimp on that one. But even so, you still need like a flow for project management, right? So um, you really need all three perspectives. You need to be like really zoomed out for the big picture, because you need like that's huge for the success of your company, is having a really good big picture viewpoint. Um, if you're not making good big picture decisions, you're potentially just spinning your wheels. And then managerially, right? If you don't have a good process, a good flow for getting projects into your workflow, getting them done, getting them kicked out again, if you don't have the right people in the right seats, all of those things. If you're not having regular client communication, for instance, in my case, these are all things that could really bite you. And people might be like, well, I think he's great. I think he's smart. I think they've got good ideas. But they just, you know, organizationally just have no confidence. I mean, they just seem to be a mess. Like they're not organized. And customer satisfaction could be low because of that. And then lastly, is the actual sort of technician level. You know, sure, if I talk a great game as a CEO, if I talk a great game as a manager, um, but no actual work is getting done, I mean, the clients are not likely to have good results. And they might say, yeah, I mean, I like the guy, he's super nice. So they seem to have like a really cool, they seem to have really cool ideas about how they want to do stuff. But they just can't get anything done. It's like, I'm not paying for that, And so for the success of a company, you need all those elements um, of the big picture judgment and decision making. You need the managerial, the project management, and then you need the technician level of actually getting stuff done. So I think it's just a challenge as a small business owner to to switch between those modes, because if like you're excited about something you're doing in CEO mode, it might be hard to get yourself over into technician mode when you need to. Or if you're full on in technician mode, you may not stop to think, oh, I need to hire somebody for this. This is stupid. Why am I spending all my time on this? Uh, as a manager should be looking at it. Or as a technician, you may be just like being like, hey, this is the work in front of me, so let me just do it. Whereas a manager would maybe look at it and be like, hey, now these are the most important things you need to do today. So make sure you do those and you don't mess that up, because those are very critical. And then these other ones, they can be done more anytime, and while they're still important, they could be done later. Or maybe a manager looks at those and say those really aren't important. Don't be doing those. For the technician, when you're in technician mode, you might just be like all about just crossing things off that checklist, maybe, and it doesn't really matter if it's important or is it not important. Does it need to be done today or next week? It doesn't matter. If it's on the list for today, you're doing it, right? So, I think that's the challenge. Is there's really different modes. I think probably all of us have a mode that we probably naturally gravitate to, and so that can be a challenge too, to sure like work in your strength, like maximize that, but to not neglect the other areas that you need to be successful and to grow your company. So I think the E Myth or the E Myth Revisited, I think really talks a lot about these ideas, um, and while you may love or hate his book, I think the general idea, which is if you got into business as a technician, don't neglect to also be a CEO. I think that's a very valid point.